I feel like every time we plan to take a week to get from one place to another, things just go wrong.
They do.
We need to stop that.
They do.
So this is our answer to what's been going on.
Hey guys, so for the last 6 months or so, we haven't been making a lot of videos. We've been very inconsistent with our video releases, and we haven't really done any vlogs except for, back when we left Texas. So in this video, we're going to share with you what's been going on, why we haven't been posting, and what we're doing now.
It all started off with us being chased by the fires in Texas. Back in July, we've been working at Dinosaur Valley RV Park, which is near Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've spent 4 months working there. We were supposed to be leaving on Sunday, and apparently on Saturday night, we got a phone call from the owner saying...
They just called to evacuate us, and they're kicking everyone out. Well, they're not kicking them out. It's voluntary, but they highly recommend it, which means it's probably coming our way.
Yeah, so we got up, and we left.
Yeah, we decided we're leaving anyway. This is the perfect time to just... go.
So we took off. We will leave a link to that video down in the description because we made a quick little vlog about the whole thing.
We were supposed to leave, and this was supposed to start a roughly 2-week trip back to New Hampshire to do our annual registration, doctor's appointments, all of that stuff, and that got completely derailed. So
we made it to Arkansas, and we have this older set of pots and pans, and the handle was kind of broken. So one morning I was pouring some coffee and the handle broke and I spilled that boiling water right on my stomach. I wasn't sure how bad it's going to be, and I know burns can be really nasty, so we decided to head up to the emergency room. Luckily, nothing was really that bad. They just gave me a couple of creams and the whole thing took me maybe like about a week to heal. I'm very, very thankful for that.
And before you guys say anything, the reason we went to the emergency room is because when we're out of New Hampshire, our only option for health insurance is the emergency room. It's the only thing that's covered. So when we're on the road, our only option is the emergency room, which we hate.
Yeah, but we went there and they were able to help me, and I was very thankful for that.
And luckily, your burns weren't very significant, except for right around your watch where the water pooled up.
Yeah.
But we made a video about that, a short video.
It's also going to be down below. So like Scott was saying, the goal was to drive to New Hampshire, and we were going to take a couple of weeks to explore states like Tennessee, West Virginia.
Do some stuff we hadn't had time in the past.
But on our second day, he got a phone call.
I got the phone call that my uncle had passed away, and my sister and I are the executors of his will. She's the primary, I'm the backup. My sister and I handle all of our family affairs kind of together as a team. So I was like, I can't leave her to deal with all of that by herself while I enjoy my trip home. So our 2-week trip turned into
2-day trip.
2 days. We did 1,400 miles in 2 days.
Ugh,
so it was drive back to New Hampshire.
And we made it to New Hampshire, and New England has a very short summer camping season. So a lot of people book their camping trips way ahead. And
like a year in advance.
Yeah, and we were trying to get a camping spot that would let us stay for about a month because we were not sure how long the funeral would take. We also wanted to do some stuff with our family, go over some paperwork.
Doctor's
appointments, the whole thing.
Renew my license, registration, inspection, all that stuff.
So we wanted to make sure that we have that month to ourselves. And unfortunately, the only campground that we were able to find, the campground was kind of very dark, a lot of mosquitoes, too many people, nothing was really that clean, which is fine. We were just very happy that at least we were able to find a camping spot because everything else was booked.
Now, if we had done our normal thing where we drive to a campground, we check it out, and we decide whether we would not have stayed there.
No.
It was the only one available. No names, we're not going to mention anything, but it is the worst camping experience that we've ever had. And I mean, we had water, sewer, electric, no cell phone.
Nope.
But they did have decent Wi-Fi. That was good. They had decent Wi-Fi. I like that. There's no boondocking up there, and there was just no other place to go.
So as we were done with our doctor's appointments and funeral and chores, we had another time-sensitive appointment.
We had already set an appointment in Wisconsin to have our flatbed installed, but we had to cut short some of our other things we wanted to do, visiting friends and family in New Hampshire and Maine. So
we made a video about our time in Wisconsin and our flatbed, and we're going to leave a link down below.
Yeah, I think the real highlight of that was, of course, getting the flatbed, but that campground, which I forget the name, just amazingly relaxing. It was very, very enjoyable.
Rustic Barn or Red Barn?
No, Rustic Barn Campground somewhere in Wisconsin. It's the only Rustic Barn campground.
Keeler, Wisconsin.
Yeah. So Rustic Barn in Keeler, Wisconsin.
Yes.
It is the most relaxing campground we've ever been to, and we don't know why.
In fact, we talked to people who keep coming back there because of that same relaxing feeling. There was a couple saying they go there every year. They've been all over the place, and this particular campground, for some reason, is just very relaxing.
we were there, what, 4 days?
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 days, and we got there just at the same time they were harvesting corn,
Oh.
and I think it was soybeans, I'm not really sure. So we got these beautiful rolling hills,
Beautiful.
sunsets, you got the combines.
Oh.
You can see it in the video, again, we'll leave that down below.
It's like out of a movie. It's so beautiful.
And we were telling a friend of ours about it, and he was like, oh yeah, Midwest vibes.
Yeah.
So the Midwest is just very relaxed and friendly.
Yeah.
It was great.
I love it.
I'd love to go back there.
From Wisconsin, we had an appointment in Michigan. So we arrived there late September, and it was kind of getting cold.
We were only planning on being there 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
And after what, 5 weeks?
I think so.
We were like, have
Cold.
to get going.
And also we had a snowstorm approaching, so we just didn't want to deal with the snow and the cold weather anymore. So we decided to head south. And at that point, we also had kind of another time-sensitive thing. We applied for work camping jobs in Arizona. For a while, Scott and I have been trying to figure out where we want to stay, kind of set up our new home base. And we were looking between Texas and Arizona. And we've spent some time in Texas already, so we know what the deal is, but we haven't spent enough time in Arizona yet,
Right.
so we just wanted to feel it out.
But of course, while preparing to load up to leave Michigan, because the storm was coming like the next day, so I had to get the hitch set up and the trailer and the camper loaded, everything all in a day. I messed up my back really bad. I think it just started off as like my back's a little sore, and I don't know what I did to it, but
Yeah.
I had to keep going, got everything loaded up. The next morning I attached the trailer, and by the time I was done with that, I was like, oh, I could barely sit. And then I had 5-6 hours of driving to do to get south away from the storm. My back continued to be a problem for a couple days.
We wanted to make sure that we stop in Moab because every time we pass through that area, we just never have time to stop. So we decided to just plan like 3 or 4 days there, maybe do some rides, go to national parks.
I really wanted to rent a side-by-side
Yeah.
because the last time we did it, we didn't have time. And now we had credit card points that we wanted to use for it. And
You had your back.
we were there for a couple days. I was walking and stretching, and my back was not doing well. And we decided that it wasn't worth wasting the money booking the trip.
Plus also one night you had fever, very high fever.
If you have a back injury and then you have a high fever, which was like 102, 103, and I'm not someone who gets fevers. When we looked up the symptoms of that, the most likely thing is that you could have a spinal abscess that was infected. I have something called psoriatic spondylitis, which is a degenerative spinal disease, and I take a medication called Humira, which puts you at greater susceptibility for infections. So it's something I can't take lightly. So if I had had a spinal abscess and the infection was brought on because my weakened immune system from the medication, it can cause death or paralysis. So all the suggestions are go to the emergency room right away because they need to give you IV antibiotics.
This is what we did because that was our only option. Luckily, the emergency room was pretty close to the campground where we were staying, so we were able to go there.
We got to the emergency room, so we got in there, the nurses do all their stuff, and then the doctor comes in, asks me my symptoms, what's going on, I explain it, and he said, you know what, I don't think you probably have a spinal abscess, which was great news. He said, have you ever heard of diverticulitis? And I was like, I have, and that makes more sense. He confirmed that with a CAT scan, and he hooked me up with some IV antibiotics, gave me a prescription to go. So really what it was is that I had my back injury, but I also developed a little bout of diverticulitis. And it really highlighted my back's falling apart. Diverticulitis is often associated with sitting too much and not enough exercise.
Yeah.
So between traveling, working on projects besides YouTube, I spend most of my time in front of the computer, and then on top of that, editing videos, sitting down to record. And even when I'm making other YouTube videos, it's usually setting up the camera and then presenting. So
There's a lot of sitting. Yeah.
a lot of sitting, a lot of standing, not a lot of activity.
No.
And I'm like, this is not sustainable.
No.
We had already been kind of in a lull of making videos, and at that point I'm like, I gotta stop. We gotta get to Arizona, which of course getting the jobs down there meant that I would be active again doing whatever, campground maintenance. That didn't go well. We actually ended up extending our stay.
For a few days.
Yeah, because
Just wanted to make sure that he heals and that if something goes wrong again, we can go back to the ER and see the same doctor.
with health insurance limitations and things like that, if I needed more antibiotics or something like that, it was easier to go back to the doctor that already knew the situation.
Yeah.
So that basically meant hanging out, and we'd wake up, I'd go walk around until I got tired and came back. So not a lot of fun. Pack up, head to Arizona,
Yeah.
where we started our jobs
Yeah.
at
So
a campground.
With Arizona, we got really lucky. We got those jobs just over the phone. With the current job market, it's pretty easy to get a work camping job right now. So we got really lucky. And after a couple of days of working there, we got disappointed. We were disappointed with the place that we were working for. Way too corporate, very strict on what you can and cannot do.
I was working nights, she was working days.
Yeah, so
amazing facility, and I understand
beautiful
the
place to stay, but working there, absolutely not.
Yeah. And the people were good. I was disappointed because I really liked working with the people, but I just didn't like the work structure.
Yeah, and then also we honestly got disappointed with the state.
So given the fact that we are trying to start a new life in a new location, kind of find a new home base, we kind of had it narrowed down to Arizona or Texas. And when we were in Arizona, after the first week or two, we really noticed some discrepancies. Grocery shopping was hit or miss. The store shelves were pretty empty. It really seemed to be mostly a tourist economy. And when we started digging into apartment costs, housing costs, and average pay, what we found is that the average pay in Arizona was about 15 to 20% less than Texas for the same job. And the housing was about 15 or 20% more than Texas for the same house. For whatever reason, the economics in Arizona made it not very appealing to us, even though it really is where we want it to be. It's close to California, Utah. Arizona's amazing, Baja.
Yeah.
So I think we were very disappointed.
We thought we found our spot. We thought this is it. We're very excited to just start our life there, but it just didn't work out.
The job didn't work out, the location didn't work out, and we're like, what do? We just want to settle in for a little while because we'd had a rough go for a while.
Yeah.
So that's when we contacted the owners at Dinosaur Valley RV Park, where we've had several successful stays. We really like it here, and we know that we can fairly easily get established in Texas. So we had to trade the beautiful location of Arizona for the amazing infrastructure and economy in Texas.
Plus, I feel like Texas has also a nice location in a sense of it's central, so it's the same amount of time if you want to go to Florida or if you want to go to California. They also have, Galveston with a lot of beaches, so it's pretty cool.
I have been working with some other companies, and they sent me out products to review and install. So after towing with our original towing setup, I asked TorqueLift to send me out their Super Hitch and Super Truss extension, and I finally got that installed, about 2 days before we hit the road to Texas. And I do have all that recorded. I just have to make the video. I actually have to sit down and edit it. I also got a new Anchor 767 power station, which is incredible, and I've been working on that video for the last couple weeks. Again, recording, still need to edit. I also got one of HaloView's brand new camera system. Their Byte Tango 7 wireless vision system. I got one for the back of the trailer and one for the back of the camper, as well as their new monitor that has lower latency and less lag. So I have done a little testing with that. I did a quick review video on that prior, but I didn't get the cameras installed properly, so that's coming in the future. So make sure you stay tuned for all of those videos coming. But of course, while preparing to get ready to leave Arizona, I had to install the Super Hitch and Super Truss and hurt my back again. That meant that when I go to sit down to edit for a day, I'm like, I can't do this right now. It just has to wait. So we've taken a complete break from social media, partly because I just can't do it right now. Yeah.
We need to take a break sometimes. So yeah.
On the road to Texas?
Which brings us to, our time on the road to Texas. And the day before we were leaving for Texas, we got another phone call.
I got a phone call that my dad had passed away in his sleep. We spoke with the funeral director on how far we could delay things because we had already quit our jobs and exited our agreement for the site.
Yeah.
And we had 2 days to leave. And we had planned on taking about a week and a half to get to Texas, so I didn't have to drive too much and so that we could enjoy some stuff and stop and sightsee. And
I feel like every time we plan to take a week to get from one place to another, things just go wrong.
They do.
We need to stop that.
They do. That's happened many times because we have these deadlines and stuff, and then you got 1,000 miles or 1,500 miles to drive, and you got to go. So we decided that it would be the following Friday. It gave us about 3 days to drive from middle of Arizona to Glen Rose, Texas. It was a balance. I think what we tried to do, like 400 miles a day.
Something like that, yeah.
So that was a balance of it gave me enough time to drive for a couple hours, get out, stretch, walk around the truck, drive for another couple hours. Of course, we could have made it in a day or two. but it's too hard on my back and it's just too stressful
Yeah.
of a drive.
We were able to go to Dinosaur Valley RV Park, unhook our camper, and I think the next day we had a flight to Boston.
I'm sure you guys are aware of funerals aren't exactly a fun time. We got through all of that. That was Friday.
And also, luckily for us, we were flying through probably the worst flu season. We were wearing masks, and we got sick.
We bought N95 masks on the way to the airport. Not that they help a whole lot, but we were hoping it would keep us from getting sick.
Yeah.
And
Nope,
it
it
not.
didn't. Scott got sick first. I think after the first, 3 or 4 days, he was starting to feel kind of off, tired, like a little sore throat.
That was Saturday when we went to go clean out my dad's apartment.
And you were sick for like maybe 2 days, like high fever.
Really sick.
Really sick, like
Couldn't get out of bed sick.
yeah, fever, cough, sneezing, like
Aches and
the whole
pains.
thing.
My back because of the flu.
Yeah.
Back was absolutely killing me, and
then when you were
taking care of me.
you were getting better, then I got sick.
Hey, what are you doing?
Watching TikTok.
This isn't for YouTube. I'm just recording you so we can remember our sick time.
I'm sick. I've been watching TikTok all day. And
Yeah? Getting sick of it?
Yeah, I can't stand up. Everything hurts and I'm tired.
Yeah. And you have a fever.
Yep, I've had fever since
Yesterday.
yesterday, like 11 a.m. So, looking
So, yeah.
forward to for fever to go away.
102.5. You like fevers. You run high fevers. You better get better soon, okay?
I better get better. Luckily, it doesn't have a lot of visitors, so hopefully
We're the only person in the swing.
I'm not gonna spread too much
No.
flu.
And your fever, my fever only lasted for 1 solid day.
Yeah.
Yours was like 3 days.
3 days, yeah. Doctors confirmed that it was the flu. Luckily, there was no more medication left because it was back ordered,
What was that, like Tamiflu or something?
something like
Yeah,
that.
it was all back ordered. Couldn't get it. I
So-
just got the notification that it's available.
Oh, cool. We can take it now.
The hotel we were staying at was in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, which is about an hour away from the airport. And our flight was at, I think, 10 a.m.,
10:30.
which means we got to be to the airport at 8, which means we have to drop the car off by like 7:30, which means we would have had to get up at 5 or 5:30 to make it on time.
Being sick, so.
And Sasha was really, really sick still.
Yeah.
So I
No
think we were
fun.
supposed to fly home Wednesday,
Mhm.
but we ended up pushing it off until Friday. So
yeah.
we changed locations. We let the hotel end, and we booked a new hotel in Boston at the airport,
Yeah.
dropped the car off. So then all we had to do is
Took a bus.
we were able to take a bus, like a 5-minute
Yeah.
bus ride to the airport, which took the stress off, and it gave
Much
you
better.
2 more days to recover.
And at that point, at least I was able to, do just basic things. I was able to walk. I wasn't as sick. I was still, not doing well, but I was so much better. And I was so happy that we did this.
And more importantly, I think you were probably past the contagious
I think
phase.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
So-
I just, it sucks. It sucks for everyone, for me, for people on the plane.
We don't want to spread it. In fact, when we were dealing with the funeral stuff and I got sick, it changed everything. I was supposed to go off and visit friends and
Yeah.
go back up to my dad's assisted living place, and kind of had to cancel all that because I don't want to spread my germs. And she was
Exactly.
obviously infected because you'd been
I
right
didn't
next
know
to
that.
me.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if we could have just de-stressed and maybe stayed for an extra 4 or 5 days. However, I had another plan, which brings us back to the project in Michigan. I had already scheduled the time to drive from Texas up to Michigan, and that was coming only a few days away. So we flew back Friday because I was going to leave and go to Michigan with the truck, and she was going to stay here and work. We had to go grocery shopping and get all of the supplies she needed because we only have one vehicle.
Yeah.
And so I had to pack, we had to go grocery shopping, and we had 2 days to do it all. And then I left at 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. Morning, guys. So it is 6:06, and my first stop is going to be at a place called Schottenkirk, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. I kind of forgot in all my travels in the last 3 or 4 months that I need to get my oil changed.
Through the potential, snowstorm and all this polar vortex and all of the stuff that you've seen in the news, he was supposed to be driving through that.
Well, the way up was great, and when I left, we didn't really know the timing. They were saying that there might be a polar vortex coming, but I'm like, no big deal, I'm just driving up. Made it up to Michigan,
Yeah.
3 days up. I did record a video about that, and it kind of includes the anchor, but it's also me kind of camping in the back of the truck, so that's coming as well. I've been making lots of videos, just haven't been publishing them. So I got up there and I was able to check into a hotel. Then I met with the people that I needed to meet with. I was there for what, 3 days?
Yeah.
And then I drove back over, well, supposed to be 3 days. I made it all the way to Kansas, and that is where I got stuck in the blizzard for a day. -8, -12, like 40, 50 mile an hour winds. Luckily where I was only got like 4 inches of snow, and I camped at a Walmart parking lot. I made a vlog about that too. That is coming. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I finally made it back here a day late, but you still had plenty of food.
Yeah. We planned everything. I knew that without the vehicle, I'm kind of stuck here. But luckily here we have some friends that if I needed something, they would be able to give me a ride or, you know. But I've had enough food. We've had heat here. I was all set. I would rather have another vehicle, but, you know, we can do this in the future.
Once we get settled down, we can get another vehicle. Because having one vehicle has been a challenge. And now that we're not traveling as much and we're kind of going off on trips, it would be nice if you could drive off and do things
if
and
I
I can go
my
off.
own thing, that would be great.
So that's coming in the future. So we do have some big changes coming, but we can't quite talk about them yet. So make sure you stay tuned in the next, say, month or so, and we're going to have all the details out about that. I do have some other videos that are backlogged. Anchor video, the Halo View video, and the torque lift video. I need to get those done.
This brings us to today. Scott just returned back from his trip to Michigan. For 5 months, we've been like either chased by the fire or trying to make it to the funeral or trying to go to this place, to that place. Like,
stuff didn't work out.
It's like every single month there's an event that we have to make sure we attend or something happens. So
back issues, health issues.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll probably get some comments saying like, oh, you're just complaining, stop complaining.
No.
Yes. I simply want to say that this is what we've been going through. This is life. I'm sure you guys know that throughout life, the good things happen and also the bad things happen. And this is just our story about our last 5 months. This is why we've been so busy. This is what we've been doing.
I mean, we're super fortunate. We're both relatively healthy. We have a place to live. We have friends. We have family. It's just the amount of stress and complexity and problems in the last, so what was that, July until
5 months.
December.
Yeah.
So it's been 5 months of a lot of stress.
We got a lot of comments from you guys asking, are you guys okay? So this is our answer to what's been going on.
We feel like we kind of dropped the ball and just left you guys hanging.
Yeah.
So we apologize for that, but you know, can only do so much. It's been a rough
patch.
Now we're back to Texas. So Texas is probably going to be our home base. We're not moving here yet, but we're definitely making motions towards that.
We're exploring it.
We do have a lot of content coming. It's probably going to be every other week. Luckily, most of it's already recorded. I just have to do it. We are planning on going to the rally in Quartzsite. Truck Camper Adventure Magazine has their website, and you can check that out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And if you guys are in the Texas area, which is huge, but like Glen Rose, Dinosaur Valley RV Park,
Dallas, Fort Worth area.
Feel free to let us know. We can swing by and say hi. And it's a great place to camp.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'd welcome the business.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye guys.